This is a cricket podcast.
I fully sympathise with Darren Mitchell. He's had pads on for over a whole day.
Two mates obsessed with the game.
Do we really like Matt Henry? I love Matt Henry. He's great. I really like Matt Henry.
Covering all the on-field action.
Henry Nicholls, he's literally done this before at the Basin Reserve, just come out and been like, me? No, I'm great. Here's my giant score.
This is the Back of a Length podcast.
Hello, welcome along to another episode of Back of a Length. I am Mark. I'm here with Renee.
Hello.
Test season in New Zealand officially finished this week.
Well, we went out with a non-thriller, which was...
We did go out with a non-thriller. I was just about to say what a test season it has been.
It's been a test season, starting back in Pakistan, where we had, three draws?
Three tests.
Three draws. Those ones coming down to the final over. And then no result available, and then unfortunately England taking that first game, and then two thrillers, like last ball thrillers, and then New Zealand
back.
Yep, back to back, that was great. And then New Zealand comfortably winning this test match against Sri Lanka to clean sweep this series, so they'll go out on a high.
Yeah, they'll be pretty happy with that. I think after the first test against England, it was all a bit doom and gloom, wasn't it? But since then, comeback has been pretty strong.
Have a comeback.
So, final test in Wellington, windy Wellington. Very windy Wellington. Sri Lanka won the toss and sent New Zealand into bat. Probably not much of a surprise given, again, the pitch is green. But I've seen a few comments on Twitter saying that whilst New Zealand produces green pitches, they're not actually like English-type green pitches, right? They're still pretty firm underneath, so it's a bit of a facade on the outside.
Genius.
You know, Sri Lanka thought, yeah, we're going to rip through these guys. And New Zealand's just absolutely smoked it.
Well, they put on a pretty good first innings score. So Latham and Conway coming together again. I'm loving this opening pair. I mean, I know that I want Will Young to be in this team, but Latham and Conway, they've got to be New Zealand's openers for the foreseeable future. Another solid partnership. Latham did go for 21 off about 70. He sort of, I wonder if he sort of lost his train of thought for a second there, because he kind of just spooned one out to deep square and went after digging in, but I mean, can't blame him.
I think with a strike rate that he had, which is 25 or whatever it is, 21 or 73, I think he saw a short ball and thought, chance for runs, and it just cramped him up a little bit. It did seem back in a little bit, and he just wasn't able to free his arms, so that was a bit unfortunate. Devon Conway 78, so he's continued his good run of form before he spooned one back to the bowler again.
Second time in a row, I believe, caught and bowled.
Yeah, which is pretty unlike him, because he normally hits the ball pretty well. So, not sure what happened there. Maybe it just stuck in the pitch a little bit. And then, I mean, Captain Kane, previous Captain Kane, not Captain Kane anymore, just did what he does, just churned out runs, 215 on him, if you don't mind. Thank you very much for coming.
That'd be good, but he wasn't there without some help, with Henry Nicholls joining him and forming one of the greatest partnerships in recent memory.
If I was a betting man, which I am, we said last episode that this is the game that you give Henry Nicholls one more chance, and he'll probably take it because that's what he normally does. Has a bit of a lean summer and then comes out with quite a decent score in the last match. This was no different. 200, not 200.
Out. So a lot of people have been talking about this, and I'm like, Henry Nicholls is a genius. Like, he's like that kid in school who just cruises through the year, doesn't study, doesn't try that hard, kind of scrapes by, and then comes out with an A+ in the final exam.
Yeah, just one of those really annoying people who they're just there, like. But it was so. I say it was guaranteed to happen, but it kind of came out of nowhere, right? It was so badly out of form, and then he just comes up with a 200.
I don't think anyone expected 200, and that's where I think he's done really, really well to push on and on and on. I think I would have expected something around 75 to 80 from Henry Nicholls. But as you were saying, he was dropped
relatively early on, which could have changed the course of the game, to be fair, because New Zealand sort of 2 for 118. But obviously Kane Williamson, Henry Nicholls put on a 380 or 370 run partnership,
Wow.
which just took the game away from Sri Lanka. There was no way they were going to win it from there. And yeah, fair enough. Good old Henry Nicholls. We'll see you again next summer for more of the same.
Yeah, I can't wait for this time next year where we have this exact same conversation.
Yeah, 100%. Because it's been, I think, 2 summers in a row now that this has happened.
He did, and he's actually scored at the hundreds at the Basin before. He's literally done this before at the Basin Reserve. Just come out and been like, me? No, I'm great. Here's my giant score.
Yeah, I want to go back to playing grade cricket. Screw that. I'm in this team for the long run. So I'm going to score 200.
It's
My
honestly,
average over the summer is going to go up to like 40 odd, which is going to be awesome because it was not out. So, that average goes up a little bit. And if you look at it, if you looked at his average from a snapshot over the course of the summer, this innings will make it look pretty decent.
A genius. Absolute genius. Okay, so Kane Williamson did break that partnership, eventually going for 215. And then, this was my next favourite moment of the Test match. So Daryl Mitchell comes out after sitting in his pads for hours and hours. And he's been following Henry Nicholls this summer. So he's like, oh yeah, I've got 5 minutes. And so he's sitting there for hours. He comes out, he hits a 4 and a 6. And then I don't know, Daryl Mitchell must have just been like, nah, this is dumb. I want to go sit down again. And then he got out on 17. So you've got 200, 215, 17.
Yeah, I fully sympathise with Darren Mitchell because I am sits down quite a lot during the day, and when I get up, I'm up for 5 minutes, and I'm like, oh, it's just not as comfortable.
I just don't want to run.
I just don't want to do anything. I just want to sit there and watch and take everything in. He's had pads on since the 26th over. He's come in 113th over, so he's had pads on for over a whole day.
Do you reckon he sleeps in them?
I don't think he moved from his chair.
Off? Yeah, I don't think he went.
I think he slept in his chair. No, I think he slept in his chair. I feel like he's a really superstitious cricketer, and he thinks, oh, if I move now, they have this whole thing, oh, if I move, someone's going to lose a wicket. So he was just there in his little white PVC chair, just hoping that a wicket doesn't fall. Don't ask us how he went to the toilet. We don't know. Tom Blundell came in. He scored 17 from 17 balls. As soon as Henry Nicholls got to 200, New Zealand declared
on
580.
580. And in reply, Sri Lanka got 164.
It was a brave effort.
It was a brave effort.
Most surprisingly about that innings was the amount of turn that Michael Bracewell got. He had a particular spell in the I think it was the third day afternoon session where he was just turning it for fun. He picked up quick wickets wickets pretty quickly, I was going to say. He actually bowled really well, which was thank you. I'm really good at this English. Picked up quick wickets and just bowled really well through that whole session, which we've been calling out for him to have some consistency in his game. Obviously he didn't get to bat, so maybe that's his secret, is he shouldn't bat. Put him at 11 and maybe he's a better bowler.
He's actually a really good fielder.
He is. That's before this game was the only thing he brought into the team, really, wasn't it? Was a decent fielder. Can't run, can't bowl, can't run between the wickets. He was ably supported by Matt Henry, who picked up 3 wickets and 3, decent wickets. He got a shout of Fernando there for 6 at the top of the order. The important wicket of Angelo Matthews, quite an obdurate batsman there. If you get him early, that's obviously a massive thing. And he got Nishan Badushka as well, who made a solid 19 on debut. I say solid, 19 out of 164 is a good effort, but 19 in isolation, not particularly great. And yeah, wickets share between Saudi, Bracewell and Tickner.
Yeah, really, really stoked with Matt Henry this test series, really. He's made himself undroppable. We always said who was going to replace Trent Boult, and we knew it would be Matt Henry, but, did we really like Matt Henry? We do like Matt Henry.
I like Matt Henry.
I actually really really like Matt Henry.
Yeah, you keep digging that hole. Do we really like Matt Henry? I love Matt Henry. He's great. I really, really, really like Matt Henry. Keep digging that hole.
We've
been
so
calling for him to come in for a while, right?
Yeah, well, we have. Well, he's basically run drinks for more test matches than he's been on the field. So,
yeah.
I mean, I think I just love that he's absolutely taken this chance with both hands, both feet, his entire body he's put into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I love that.
Because he gets injured.
Yeah, sorry, please don't get injured, Matt Henry. Because he actually did get injured after Pakistan. So, take care of yourself, Matt Henry, because we want you back.
Yeah, rest up, boy. Rest up. New Zealand enforced a follow-on. And you're thinking, you think it's a no-brainer, but obviously after what happened last time against England, and the pitch did flatten out, you think it flattened out a little bit. I actually think, New Zealand, as well as New Zealand bowled, a lot of the Sri Lankan batsmen kind of got themselves out. A good innings there between Karuna Ratner and Kusal Mendes saw them through to the close on day 3, and then day 4 happened.
Yeah, well, 2 quick wickets went before lunch, which took Sri Lanka, pretty far into their lower order. And then a few more of them kind of stuck around and made it very, very pesky for the Black Caps. And they wanted to finish it on they needed to finish it on day 4 because day 5 actually had a lot of rain forecasted. So even though we're actually saying it wasn't a thriller, it actually could have been, because they really had to get them out by day 4.
Yeah. There were quite a few Sri Lankan batsmen who actually made some decent scores on this one, but nobody was really able to go on. Like Karuna Ratner 51, Kusal Mendes 50, Dinesh Chandimal 62, Dhananjaya De Silva 98, Nishan Madushka 39, and Kasun Rajitha with 20. All good scores, great starts, but not actually able to go on and make that big 100, or just see the game into day 5. Yeah, it
is hard. You're chasing 580. Yeah, if you could just do a Henry Nicholls, that'd be great.
Yeah, I guess, hindsight's a great thing, right? But they needed to get to day 5 and, see what happens with the weather, but they weren't quite able to do that. But, we said before the series started how are Sri Lanka so close to getting a Test Match Championship final spot. I think we saw glimpses of why they were where they were, but not a complete sort of performance over the 2 Test matches. So enough for them to work on.
If they could get some more games, they would be in such a stronger position.
Again, we've said this before, England playing 25, Australia, India playing 22, 23, the likes of New Zealand and Sri Lanka and Bangladesh only playing 10 or 11 Test matches during that 2-year cycle is just a disgrace. It's not enough. And I just think the ICC really need to look at that.
Absolutely, and at the very least, teams need to be having a 3-match Test series. The two-match Test series for a New Zealand summer is ridiculous.
It's bang average. Yeah, I completely agree. More Test matches, the better results that they're likely to get, depending on obviously where those Test matches are, but it just gives more consistency to their performances as well. You have 2 Test match series, you lose the first one. You look at New Zealand, for example, against England, they lost the first Test match quite convincingly. They won the second Test match. There'd be a lot of confidence going into that third Test match, if there was one.
But there wasn't one.
And then similar for this series, Sri Lanka just about lost the first Test. They got battered in the second Test, so there's probably something there for them to prove if they had a third Test. So it wouldn't have been a dead rubber as far as they're concerned. And so I just think, 2 Test match series suck.
They absolutely suck.
It's our takeaway from this summer.
No, congratulations to the Black Caps. An absolute great summer of Test cricket. New Zealand Test team will not be back in action for quite a while.
Yeah, they've got a bit of a break, which is good because they have been going since the start of December, I think. It was Christmas, wasn't it, when they went over to Pakistan and had their first game at Christmas. So, it's been a relatively long 3 months. But again, this is where we say, why aren't they getting more Test matches? Because England played in February, they play again in May. Australia have just had a 4 Test match series against India. There's surely a tour that New Zealand can go on, West Indies or something like that, just to keep Test match cricket going throughout the year for New Zealand. Yeah, because now unless they go to somewhere like, I don't even know, South Africa, I'd probably say unless they go to England or something like that, or the West Indies, they've got no opportunities because everything else is Southern Hemisphere.
They haven't announced a lot of their New Zealand winter program. We know that they go to Pakistan in April, and then there is a series in the UAE in August, which is a short form series which leads into sort of the build up for the World Cup. So they do actually have a number of months off. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is a Test series against the West Indies announced later this year.
Yeah, they definitely need to, because looking at it at the moment, their next Test tour is of Bangladesh in September. So they don't play a single Test until September.
That's really far away. And also that's so close to the World Cup. Like, no one's going to be focusing on Tests.
Yeah, 100%. It's a 2-test match, 3 ODI tour of Bangladesh. The tour of Pakistan's 5 T20, 5 ODIs, and they do 3 T20s against the UAE in August. They then go to England for 4 ODIs and 4 T20s, and then they build up to that Test series and then the World Cup. So they've got 1 Test match before the next New Zealand Test. Sorry, they've got 2 Test matches before the next New Zealand Test summer.
Well, hopefully there will be some more.
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, because even then, looking at it now, their next Test match is actually, after Bangladesh, is February.
Oh, that's not
2024.
Good enough. That's not good enough.
So you're missing the first 2 months of summer.
Nah. Surely something will be announced. But before all of that, before our players head overseas, Sri Lanka are sticking around for an ODI series and a T20 series in New Zealand soil. The first ODI game will be this Saturday in Auckland. Now, New Zealand have named a bit of an interesting team. The first ODI will see a number of players basically play one game and then go to the IPL. The likes of Finn Allen, Michael Bracewell are all heading over to that competition. So then New Zealand will bring in people like Henry Nicholls into the squad for games 2 and 3. So it's kind of a bit all over the place. Yeah. I can only assume they just want to see as much talent as possible before this World Cup.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. It's one of the last opportunities they've got to sort of hone their squad, I guess. The benefit to players going to the IPL is obviously those players that are going to get the benefit of experienced Indian conditions. The benefit to you of those players going to the IPL is that a certain Mr. Will Young comes into the ODI squad and will likely get a game.
Will Young for a maiden ODI century.
I reckon your test match one didn't work, so let's jump on the 50 over bandwagon.
Absolutely going to manifest a Will Young maiden ODI century. Somehow. I don't know how it's going to happen. So Will Young, hopefully in this team. Also keep an eye out for 2 potential debuts, Ben Lister and Chad Bowes. Ben Lister has played in the T20 team before over in India. Chad Bowes new into the squad.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Ben Lister. Obviously plays for Auckland during the domestic competition. I think he does deserve an opportunity.
Yeah, and he's coming in that place of Lockie Ferguson, who will be overseas with the IPL as well. So real opportunity here. It's much a shame. I don't feel like I haven't seen Lockie Ferguson in ages.
It has been a while.
Miss him.
But yeah, we've had no sort of ODIs or international T20s, have we? So
he's
not had much cricket. I just give Ben Lister a go. Give Ben Lister a go at the Black Caps.
Yes, absolutely. Let's manifest that too. Okay, we will be following that series over on social media, as always, at Back of a Length on Twitter, Instagram, and on Facebook as well, if you want to follow us on any of those platforms. Right, before we wrap up, it is time for the first 11 of the week.
I really need to practice this jingle. I feel like it's different every week.
It is. That's the charm of it.
Fair enough.
Fun fact for you.
I love fun facts. Hit me.
New Zealand, Sri Lanka. The first time that New Zealanders have had cousins in the team, which has inspired the first 11 of Family Affair.
Okay.
Here we go. So just one person from each family, but if you can guess who the rest of the family is, just let us know over on the socials. All right, in at 1,
can I have
Andy.
A go with that?
Yes, you can have a go.
Excellent.
1, Andy Flower.
Grant Flower.
2, Tom Latham.
2 was who, sorry?
Tom Latham.
Pass.
His dad.
I know who he is, but I don't know his... right, okay, right.
Dad Rod Latham. Okay, 3, Martin Crowe.
Yep, know that one.
4, Steve Waugh.
Yep, know that one.
5, I hope you get this one, Michael Bracewell.
Oh, let me think for a second. I don't know. Oh, Doug!
Doug, who
sorry.
played his first test match in 7 years and had a fairly decent go of it. So shout out to Doug Bracewell there.
Yes.
All right, 6, Richard Hadley. 7, Brendan McCullum.
Yep.
8, Craig McDermott. 9,
No.
Stuart Broad.
Yeah, I
10,
know that one. Yeah.
Mitchell Stark. 11, Morne Moko.
See, Mitchell Stark's an interesting one. Because are we going for his spouse?
I think that is, that was it.
Is that where we came from?
Yeah, Alyssa Healy, of course, one of the stars of the Australian women's cricket team.
Excellent. If you think you can put together the 11 of, I guess, the alternative 11 of Family Affairs, so, instead of Stuart Broad, who have we got? Send us your lists on those social media platforms, back of a link. That's our episode. Really, really great New Zealand Test summer. They always are in New Zealand, right? It's always such a good fun to see the Test summer come along and, see New Zealand's finest and Henry Nicholls make their way.
And Will Young!
And Will Young, yep. As long as we keep Mark Chapman away, that's the main thing. Thank you for listening, and just get in touch.
Bye!
Bye.